right?
So, I don't think we got anyone on right now. Or maybe we do. We got 2 playbacks. I don't know about you. Oh, we got 4 people watching. We got 4 viewers on right now.
Okay. Let me pull up the. Oh, come on. Please don't be ultra slow on me today. There it is.
Got it open?
Working on it. Okay, there we go.
We got 5 people watching.
Oh, hey. So did you get that auction house?
We got it this morning.
Okay, 6 people.
Mm-hmm.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go and get the pre-show started. We got like 2 minutes. Oh, or a minute. Okay, here we go. So, so welcome in, everybody. I hope you guys had a phenomenal weekend. I did. My wife and I went out to go do some range shooting, which is great. Takes my steam off, right? Okay, Joel, welcome back, Joel from Miami. Lone Yoon from Virginia, which I think I'll be in Virginia in about a month. So, yeah, for a trip. So, welcome in, everybody, for another week, and we're about to get started. We got 1 minute on the dot. I think we got 30 seconds, maybe, if not less. So we'll get the process started here soon. I am sipping on my coffee, so I hope you got yours as well. Okay. For those who are part of our program, you guys have our hotline number, which I should have sent it this morning, but I did not. That was my mistake, but I did send it last Monday, so if you want to look through the email to get the phone number, the hotline to call in to the studio, I did send that in last week. Okay, it is 11 o'clock on the dot. Welcome back to another week of Real Estate Investing Q&A, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sam Kwak, one of the Kwak Brothers, and typically my brother Daniel does this live show every single week. Daniel is actually away right now. He's at a church camp. He's volunteering for 2 weeks. So he'll be gone for the rest of this week, and he'll be back next Monday to come host the Real Estate Investing Q&A with you guys. So I'll be taking in and I'll be filling in. So Top Secret Bear asked, what millimeter did you shoot? So I mentioned that I went to shoot at a range this weekend with my wife. We actually went to go shoot a 9mm carbine. So they didn't have an actual like rifle, but they did have a carbine that we can shoot. So that's what we get. That's what we did. So that's funny that that's the first question of the show, which always interests me. But anyways, let's go and get the show started. This show is all about Q&A on real estate investing, whether you have questions about owner financing, raising capital, you have questions about how to find the properties, how to find the deals, whether it's apartments, single family, residential. This is the time to do it. So go ahead and fire away any questions you guys may have about real estate investing. And I know you guys been like itching to ask questions throughout the weekend. So here's Joel, who's the first person on the show, and I'm sure he's got a lot of questions today. Joe's asking, mention all the negative things and the positive things about having rentals in a market where it snows. Huh, okay. That's interesting, because it does snow here in the Chicago area. I do live in western suburbs of Chicago. So the one thing that it's not even snow, it's the one thing that I absolutely despise is the cold weather. And typically we start to see negative teens, like we start to see negative 10 degrees, negative 12 degrees, typically middle of January here up in Chicago. And when that starts to happen, I start to worry about the pipes, the water pipes. And I know for those who are like super, warm areas, you don't ever have to experience this or ever have to deal with this. But up here in Chicago, places like Minnesota, Washington State, Wisconsin in general, Michigan, we have those weather where we see negative 10, negative 15 degree weather 3 days in a row sometimes. And when we see typically, negative 10s or negative 15s 3 days in a row, I know one or two of my properties, they're going through a pipe burst. So anytime there's a pipe burst, it's a pain in the butt because you have to shut off the water completely, and then you'd have to resolder all the copper pipes back into place, and it costs a lot of money because you have to open up the drywall and you have to figure out where it bursted, and yeah, it's a lot of pain in the butt. So that's one con, is that every winter I have to deal with the pipe being bursted, or that's something that I got to worry about, and I have to let all the tenants know about how to prepare for something like that to happen. Snow removal, right? It's another expense on top of landscaping, but snow removal isn't too bad. This past year wasn't too bad at all either. So that's one of the pros and cons. Now, what is pro? I can't really think of one, which kind of worries me. But mostly, if you prepare for those things, you'll be okay. Typically, the places that snow tend to have cheap, fall into like the Midwest states. So yeah, I can't really think of a pro. I got to think about that one because the pro really is that, people pay rent and that's pretty much it. What's nice is actually there is a seasonality to when people move and when people shouldn't move. And usually wintertime, I don't experience as much turnover as summertime. Summertime is when people move back and forth. So summertime, I do see a lot of vacancy. That's okay, because that's usually when people move in, and I can fill in vacancies rather quickly. During wintertime, if there is a vacancy, that's a pain in the butt, because it's harder to find a tenant during the wintertime when it snows. So yeah, lots of cons. I can't really think of a pro, but I'm just thankful that I have tenants that pay in general. Okay. Lone Newton is saying, Virginia is Amazon headquarters. All real estate here, including condos, are extremely hot. Should I still buying for rentals or wait for after recession kicks in? Thanks. So Amazon being there, and really the afterthought is sort of too late. Like after the market picks up, after that event happens, whatever that cause is, and in this case the cause is Amazon having their headquarters there. You're sort of too late. You would have wanted to know that at least 2-3 years before. And typically the conversation when it comes to a large employer coming into town usually happens a year or two beforehand anyways, through the zoning department, through the city commissioner. And it's best that you find out 2 years ahead and then buying at that point before everyone finds out, because after the fact, after everyone knows that Amazon is there, you're sort of too late. Mainly because all the prices are already up. The better time to buy is, yes, as you were saying, is after recession. And even after recession, you're still buying at a higher price, mainly because the fact that Amazon is still there. And Amazon is such a mega, trillionaire company that, it's going to literally carry the city or carry the area forward with how the market's doing. So, I would say right now is still not the best. Right now is not the best time in that context, mainly because you're sort of too late into the market. So I will wait even after the recession and see what the market does afterwards. Okay. A couple things. Little update, guys. Last week, the Federal Reserve met, and it sounds like they're going to keep the rates steady, meaning they're not going to change the rates. And I don't know if they're going to do it again. They're going to meet again this year, but. Which I think they will, obviously. And I don't know if they're going to lower the rates. I think they're going to keep this, based on the conversation that they had last week, they're going to keep the rates the same and steady. So it should be interesting to watch. And it's one thing that Daniel and I do is we pay attention to the economy, especially Daniel. Daniel focuses more on the macroeconomics of things. So when Daniel's back, he can go and talk about the macroeconomic effect of the interest rate. But that's something that I pay attention to as well, because we want to see what the economy is doing, and our strategy will change depending on what the economy does. Okay. Top Secret Bear is asking, where do you find contractors for rehabs and such? Okay. So there's a couple tips for that. Number one is obviously I already have a lot of the contractors ready. So if you already have a solid contractor that you work with, the best thing to do from there is ask the contractor to see if he has any other contractors in a different field. So, for example, I have my plumber, Steve. Steve's a great guy. Love working with him. He's very talented. He's very skilled. and I was looking for a carpenter at the time. So I asked Steve, hey, Steve, do you have a carpenter in mind? Because Steve's a plumber. And Steve, of course, had someone he knew who was a carpenter. And the carpenter ended up working out really well, too. So usually good contractors tend to work with good contractors. So if you already have a solid contractor that you work with, but you're looking for other services, other talents, other contractors in different areas, then you can go and work with that particular contractor to get referrals. Now, if you have zero contractors at all, like you're just starting out, you're fresh, you don't have any talents in your team, one thing that you can do is you can go to these hardware stores like Ace Hardware, Lowe's, Home Depot, some of these, big hardware stores, and drive around the parking lot and you'll see trucks and vans that have names of the contractor companies out there, and take down their phone number, take a picture of their van, and lots of times they have phone numbers on the van and you can call them. And usually I picked them out from the parking lots of these hardware store, knowing that they already have jobs that they're working for, right? They already have jobs because they're buying materials and such. So that's a method. Another way is to go work through a property manager. Property manager is going to have their approved vendors that they already work with. And lots of times you can go ahead and get referrals to contractors from property managers. Another thing is, last sort of resort, last ditch effort is places like Home Depot, Lowe's, they have their network of contractors that they use to install like carpet and flooring and so on. And they're not bad at all. These contractors that work through Home Depot, while they'll charge a little bit more, but it sort of ensures that there's gonna be quality behind what they do because they're working through Home Depot or working through Lowe's, working through Menards, and so on. So those are some of the ways that you can look for contractors. I don't like to look for contractors through Craigslist or through these like Facebook Marketplace, mainly because I don't even know if they're insured, bonded, and they're licensed. That's another thing you should look at, no matter what, even if you go and follow all the methods that I shared earlier on, is make sure that your contractor is licensed, bonded, and they're insured. Okay, make sure they have those three things, and they're bonded with the state, and they're licensed through the state as well. So make sure you ask for those information. Make sure their insurance is up to date, because a lot of times they can provide you proof of insurance, but it may have lapsed or expired. So make sure that their proof of insurance is up to date, because you don't want some of the liability to fall back on your hand. Okay. All right. So top secret bearer, do you trust Craigslist or any of these new handyman apps? Craigslist, no, mainly because any Joe can go ahead and post stuff up on Craigslist, so I'm not a big fan of it. So that's why I'm suggesting that you work with other contractors to refer you to another contractors, or go through these big box hardware stores that are out there that have preferred vendors, property management, right? So those are some of the more reliable sources, I would say, versus Craigslist or some of these handyman apps. Okay. All right. Okay. So I don't see any other questions from here, so we'll take on more questions. If you guys have any more questions on real estate investing, what Daniel and I are working on today, a little bit of update of what Daniel and I are working on as far as real estate investing. We are actually looking to acquire large amounts of portfolio in northern Florida, and we're actually building a fund, a private fund, to capture some of these portfolios in northern Florida, which I'm a big fan of. Which, by the way, I love warm places. I love Florida. I love Cancun. I love California. Some of these nice, warmer places give me happy thoughts. So I actually wouldn't oppose buying properties in Florida, mainly for that reason, because anytime I visit my rental properties, it's a tax write-off. So good move on Daniel, of course, and Daniel is looking to buy properties in Florida, northern Florida specifically. So that's something that we're working on, and to just give you guys a little update on what we are doing. On top of that, we have an Airbnb that's live in Indiana. So far we already have 6 bookings so far. Very exciting. So just keeping you guys updated on what we're working on, some of the projects that we're undertaking throughout the summertime. So Howard Lee is asking, do you recommend investing with friends? Sure, as long as your friends are, of course, they know what they're doing, that they complement some of your skill sets. So the way that Daniel complements my skill set, I'm very detail oriented. I'm very process oriented. Anytime the question of how comes along, usually I have the answers for. So I'm very much of that detailed, oriented, process thinking type of guy. Daniel is more of the big picture type of guy. He's more of the negotiator than I am. So we complement each other because I have skill set that Daniel doesn't, and Daniel has skill sets that I don't have. So if you're working with a friend, my preference will be to work with someone that complements your skill set and has some of the talents and skills that you don't have, so that you guys can sort of work together as an unstoppable force and a team that can complement each other. Okay. Howard's is following up with that by saying, if so, how do you manage that? Make sure everything's on paper, everything's written down, have a contract. If you're gonna start an LLC or an LLP, most oftentimes your attorney is gonna draft something called an operating agreement. This operating agreement is basically, a contract that spells out what to expect from your partnership, who gets paid what are the duties and responsibility of the individual members of this partnership slash, the team. So have an operating agreement written down, have every expectation written down on paper, and have you and your friends sign on it and follow that operating agreement very closely, so that in case things turn south or things go bad, you want to fall back on the operating agreement to sort of guide you on that relationship. Okay. Like, whose name does it go under, or do you make it business? Yeah, so it would go under a business. It would either be, again, I'm not giving you guys any legal advice here, so make sure you have a conversation with an attorney. It would more than likely be an LLC or an S corporation, depending on what business you're doing. So consult an attorney as well as an accountant on that. So make sure that all of your sort of downside is covered and you have the proper legal protection. Okay. All right, so we'll go and take on more questions. I don't see any other questions, so anytime I don't see any question, it gives me the opportunity to rant a little bit. This week I'll be in New Jersey. If you guys are in New York or New Jersey, guys, come and hang out with me. I'll be in Fort Lee, New Jersey. I'm actually coaching a coaching client there. And if you live anywhere near Fort Lee, New Jersey, I am hosting a mastermind dinner on this Wednesday night on June 26th. Yeah, June 26th at 6 p.m. at Fort Lee. If you guys want more information on how to meet me for a live mastermind, more of like a meet and greet, I would say, you guys can go ahead and email me at info at thekwakbrothers.com. Again, that's info at thekwakbrothers.com. So I'll be flying into New Jersey tomorrow morning. My wife's got a cousin that lives there, so she'll be hanging out with a cousin. And I'll be doing a mastermind dinner this Wednesday night at New Jersey at 6 p.m. So if you live anywhere near New Jersey, New York City, come on by. We'd love to hang out with you, answer some questions that you may have in person, and we'll have some amazing. We'll have an opportunity to break bread and have a conversation over a meal. So if you guys want more information, again, email me info at thekwakbrothers.com, and then I'll send you over the location as well as the details as to when we're meeting. Okay. All right, J Local Arts is asking, what is your opinion on buying a rural house, then later renting out? I'm military, so I am buying real estate in every state I am stationed. Not a bad idea. One thing that I would recommend is hire a property manager, because there's no way you're gonna be able to manage all sorts of different properties in different areas. So work with a solid property manager, and we have a video solely dedicated on how to shop for the right property manager. A couple things to keep in mind when shopping for a property manager is, number one, that they're licensed. Okay, you don't want to work with a property manager that's not licensed, because it's illegal. In fact, they have to be licensed, they have to be insured. Okay, they have to be bonded. So make sure that those three things are there. Another thing I would look for is to see how the property manager boss, the boss of the property management firm, how he or she treats the employees. Okay, depending on how the boss treats the employees, that's exactly how the employees are going to treat your tenants. So if the boss treats the employees like crap, okay, pardon my French, then the employees are also going to treat the tenants as well. So be sure, look to see how the corporate culture is like with the property manager, and you'll see how your tenants are going to be treated as well. Another thing is drive by the properties that the property manager manages to see how the condition and how the maintenance is being kept. And if you can, interview some of the other landlords that are working with the said property manager to see what the reviews and the opinions are like. So that's something to keep in mind when hiring a property manager. And another thing is when buying a property in rural area, expect to have lot of maintenance at first, because a lot of times these rural areas, they're outdated in terms of the cosmetic rehabs and the maintenance. So make sure you have some upfront cash beforehand, in case you do need to do some heavy maintenance up front. Okay, so 2 things: have some cash up front in case you need to do some maintenance, and hire a property manager to manage while you're serving the country. And again, thank you so much for serving our country, and appreciate our servicemen and servicewomen out there. Okay. Top secret bear is, how will refinances work during recession? Will they be hard to get? So that's actually a really good question, because last time we had a recession in 08, 09, the banks stopped doing all sorts of loans. They're like, no more loans, we're done. But it didn't mean that they stopped doing they stopped doing refinances altogether. It's gonna be harder. You're gonna have to do a lot of, you're gonna have to come up with lots of documents, as well as they're gonna require a lower LTV. So, and I don't mean to sound like I'm predicting the future here. I'm not. Who knows? It could be a totally different situation in the next recession. But from what we know from the last recession, the banks were requiring a lower LTV, meaning they were asking you for even more down payment, or they were giving you less of what your home value is actually worth. So if your property value is $200,000, they'll only give you 50% of the refinance. So it'll be like $100,000 only. So it'll be more stricter. They're gonna underwrite you even more heavier. They're gonna want to see a better debt to income ratio. They're gonna want to look at all of your other assets. So it's gonna be more strict. There's gonna be a lot more documenting, a lot more disclosures. But doesn't mean that the refinancing is out of the picture completely. It's just a little bit harder. But if you're prepared for it, it's gonna be easier than the rest of the crowd that has not been prepared for it. So that's why I tell people, pay off as fast as possible, so that when the recession rolls around, if you do ever need to refinance, you'll have enough skin in the game, or meat in the bone, so to speak, to be able to refinance down the road. Okay. So that's a couple things that I would say, and I can't really do a hard prediction on the future, but I can predict based on what happened in 08 and 09. Yes, it was harder to refinance because banks were going through some crazy things. Lots of banks were going bankrupt and closing, mainly because of what happened with subprime mortgages. So yeah, it's just gonna be harder, not impossible, just harder. Okay. J Local Arts is asking, thank you. Last question. What do you think of using full room 3D scanning cameras? It does as it says, like a virtual tour. I think it's the next step for showing online pictures on real estate sites. So this all comes down to, I think, the market and the neighborhood and the quality of the market. Now, I don't think it makes sense to do a 3D picture or virtual tour on a C-class or a D-class neighborhood. Okay, I don't think it makes sense at all, because you're putting too much money and effort into listing it for the amount of rent you're gonna collect. So my philosophy is, if you're gonna do something like that, it's gonna be done more so on a A-class type of property, more of a luxury apartment or a luxury single family home. That's where I would see the 3D scanning, virtual tour will go into. I don't think it's gonna work on a rural property / C-class, B-class neighborhood. I might start doing it on a B-class level or A- level, but I probably wouldn't waste the time or the money on a 3D virtual tour on a C-class neighborhood when you're only collecting $800, $900 a month, or depending on what your area is. I'm just speaking through the lens of my own area. So I don't think it's gonna make sense to spend all that money when you're not gonna get it back. When you do something like that, always make sure you make that decision knowing that you're gonna get that money back. Okay, your decision should be within the lens of an investment. So the question is, if I do this 3D scanning virtual tour, would I get more return? Would I make more money, or would I be wasting money? I mean, it's cool. It sounds cool, right? I mean, yeah. I mean, it's awesome that we can do a virtual tour, but does that translate to more value and more money in the long run? If it doesn't, I don't think it belongs in our business model. If it does, great. Incorporate it. Make it work. Cool. All right. Lone Newt is asking, what's your plan if the Fed is cutting interest rate? Wall Street is going up, housing is going up, so would you still plan to sell your house? So when the interest rate goes down, typically there is a relationship. I know there's a lot of people that says there's not. In commercial real estate, there is an effect or a relationship between the interest rate and also the price of the property. This is more so true on commercial apartments. If the interest rates go down, the apartment value goes up. When the interest rates go up, the apartment value goes down. And this mainly has to do because it's easier to get financing, or financing is cheaper, I should say, when the interest rate's lower. Therefore, more people are gonna wanna use financing and cash to buy properties, especially apartments. If the interest rates go up, okay, it's gonna be less favorable to take the financing route. Thus, less people are gonna wanna buy or finance through a lending institution. So when the interest rates go down, it typically signals that the Federal Reserve might be looking at a slowdown or a correction up ahead, and they're looking to sort of balance that by trying to lower the interest rate, by sort of stimulating more borrowing and more activity happening. Now, if that does happen, it's something to pay attention, because that just means that the Federal Reserve sees something that we don't. So that's something to keep in mind, okay? What are your thoughts on making double payments each month versus using velocity banking process? So I actually, the new calculator that we just released and published does have a comparison between paying extra versus doing the velocity banking. And 9 times out of 10, velocity banking always wins. Okay, 9 times out of 10. So if you do a comparison by just doing double payments versus doing velocity banking, 9 times out of 10, velocity banking wins, says the calculator, not me, okay? If doing double payments work, great, awesome, perfect. But based on our calculations and different scenarios and different situations that we run through the calculator, 9 times out of 10, velocity banking wins, hands down. So double payment, does it work? Yes, but I think it's not as effective or efficient as doing the debt-free acceleration method, which, you know, of course, you guys know that I'm a huge fan of. I've been preaching it. We have a whole entire program and a course that teaches you and holds your hand through it. So, you know, I'm a huge fan of that, of the velocity banking and debt-free acceleration, okay? Good questions, guys. You know, keep it coming. Let's see what time it is right now. So we're halfway through the show. Again, if you guys have any more questions, you guys can do it. If you guys are part of our program, part of our courses, you guys have the hotline to call, where you can call in and ask me questions, and we can have a direct conversation through the phone right here. If you're not part of the program, you can continue asking questions through our chat box. But I will say that our calls and hotlines that we get, they have priority. I will answer these first before answering any of the questions on the chat box in below. So, okay. So Top Secret Bear is asking another question. Do you think that becoming a notary public will be a good side hustle, not only for extra investing funds, but also to meet possible business contacts? Yes and no. This is a common thread that I've been getting a lot because, I mean, so I don't know what you do currently. I don't know what your business is like currently or what your job is like currently, but it may be better. And again, this may depend heavily on your situation, but depending on what you're doing, you might be better off doubling down on your current business and making more money there. By investing in trying to do a new business, it's not only takes more time and effort, but it may deviate you from your current business line or job you're doing. So that's kind of like saying, you know, I'm in the business of real estate investing and teaching real estate. That's kind of like saying, well, I'm gonna go and start I'm gonna be an attorney because I think it's gonna give me more opportunities. Well, not only am I pulling away from my own business to go study to become an attorney, I may lose the opportunity to make more money by doubling down my time or using the time that I'm spending studying becoming an attorney. I would rather use that time to double down on my business and make more money than trying to go do something else and creating another stream of income. When it comes to creating another stream of income, I prefer to create another stream of income within the realms of my own industry. So in my own industry, the couple different streams of income that I have is, of course, my real estate portfolio. I have a coaching business. I have a program that I sell. We sell our book, right? That's another stream of income. So you see that my streams of income are all within the same sort of realm and the same industry. I try to keep it that way so that I can, it's easier to transition between different streams. But if I were to decide that I want to become an attorney, not only will my original bread and butter business suffer because I'm spending less time there, my chances of becoming a successful attorney is up in the air, right? Like, I may not end up becoming a successful attorney, but I do know I have success in the business. Might as well invest and double down on the business that I know is currently making more money for me. Does that make sense? So, and I know I could have explained it a different way, but so yeah, my philosophy is if you could double down on, like, rather than spending that time in starting a business, use that time to work on your current business and make more money. I would do that versus trying to start a new business. And when you do start a new business, make sure you have all the systems, the process, the procedures in place before you move into another business. Meaning you have your employees, you got your managers, you have all the systems perfected. Like, you should be able to walk away from your business and still be able to make money and grow that business, okay? Your business should be completely independent of who you are before walking away. That's only then I would start walking away to build another business. Other than that, I would still double down, build that system, hire the right people, train the employees, train the managers, so that I can eventually go and walk away to do other things, other businesses in the future. Okay. All right. Video Sensei is saying, make sure you remember to give the video a thumbs up. Yeah, please do. Please do give our video a thumbs up. And if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell icon so that you guys can get notified in our future videos whenever we release our new videos. We're about to release a video called How to Get a HELOC on a rental property. That's pretty cool, right? We're also going to talk about how to evict a bad tenant and how to screen tenants before they move in. So we have a couple cool videos coming out soon, and Daniel will be back next week. So anytime we do these live videos, if you want to get notified when we do live, be sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel as well as hit that bell icon so that you guys get notified. Okay. All right, good questions, guys. Appreciate all of you guys, all of your participation, as well as getting involved and having a conversation with me. I appreciate all of you guys being on board and being on tune on our daily, or I should say weekly live. Wish we could do daily lives, but weekly lives. And yeah, keep the questions coming in, guys, as far as real estate investing. And I might even talk about debt-free acceleration in this conversation because, I'm here. So, okay. So again, another thing is, for those who haven't heard this before, I am coming into New Jersey this week. I'm flying out to New Jersey tomorrow morning, and I'll be hosting a mastermind dinner Wednesday night at 6 p.m. in Fort Lee, New Jersey. So if you're in New York City or the tri-state area, or is it tri-county area? Right, tri-county area. Be there. I'd be more than happy to have a conversation with you in person. I'm flying there because I'm coaching a student. So I decided to do a mastermind dinner before I meet with the coaching student. So mastermind dinner is happening Wednesday night, New Jersey. If you're near that area, be sure to come and join us for the dinner. Send us an email if you want more information, info@thekwakbrothers.com. Again, that's info@thekwakbrothers.com. Shoot us an email and I'll send you some more details as to where we're meeting and what the topic of the mastermind is going to be. Okay? Alrighty. All right, guys, go ahead and shoot some more questions if you guys have any. I don't see any other questions on the chat box. So shoot away any questions that you guys may have in regards to real estate investing and paying off your debt. Okay? And real quick, another shameless plug is if you have not bought our book yet or gotten our book yet, we are giving out these books for absolutely free. All you have to do is just pay for shipping of $7.95. Pay for the shipping and we'll send them out to you guys. You can get this free book at 0to75units.com. At 0to75units.com. Number 0, TO75 units with an S at the end.com. And you guys can get this book for free, delivered to your door. You just need to pay for shipping. And in this book, we're going to talk about all the fundamentals as well as the foundation to starting a successful real estate investing business, as well as how we went from 0 to 75 rental units in just 1 year without using our own money or credit. So be sure to get the book for free. Just pay for the shipping. That's all we're asking you guys to do, and you can get the book for free. Cool. Have you ever utilized your VA loan? I'm a Marine veteran myself and was curious about it. Yeah, so I actually never been able to, mainly because I'm self-employed. And there's a certain disadvantage when it comes to becoming self-employed because your tax return, when it comes to doing your taxes, you want to show that you're not making as much money on your taxes for tax purposes, because obviously if you report that you have a lot of income, then you're going to be taxed a lot. Which may or may not be a good thing. But for me, for the past 3 years, I've been reporting my taxes at a loss through business deductions and business depreciation, write-offs and things like that. So I've never been able to use my VA loan because my tax return, my debt-to-income ratio wasn't there. But I think after this year, I paid quite a bit of taxes from last year. So this year, I think I'll be able to get a VA loan to be able to buy a house, condo, or another rental property. But the VA loan has to be owner occupied. You can get a 2-unit or a 4-unit or 3-unit with the VA loan. So you can go and have other tenants with a 3-unit or 4-unit, right? To do some house hacking. You can use your VA loan that way. But keep in mind, you do have to show, obviously debt to income ratio and your tax return there. And there's a disadvantage if you're self-employed, unfortunately. So, but the answer is no. I have not been able to use my own VA loan, but I think I will in the future. Okay. All right, Jesse is asking, what law firm do you use to set up your LLC? So I use a local law firm here in Chicago. In fact, you can use almost any law firm that does real estate law and business law and business formation. So a lot of times there's nothing really complicated about forming an LLC. The only thing that I can see that's complicated is writing up your operating agreement, letting your attorney handle that process. So that's really the complicated part of setting up an LLC, unless you're doing like an IRA LLC or an IRA inside of a living trust. That might get complicated, but usually most attorneys that does real estate law and business formation can handle it. The reason why I don't want to share my own attorney is for privacy purposes. So you can go and look up pretty much any local firm that does business law and real estate formation. Okay. T-Tama is asking how to speak to a friend or someone to invest their money on real estate so we can start our business. How is that tax reduction beneficial to them if it is a partnership? So I'm going to answer that in 2 parts. The first thing is go and watch our video on how to raise money for real estate, because there's a whole conversation and a script that you can use when it comes to raising capital. To kind of give you a synopsis, what we typically like to do is we first find a deal. Okay, deal comes first, not the money. We go and find a deal, we negotiate it into owner financing or at least a favorable purchase term, and then we'll put together what's called an executive summary. In this executive summary, it's typically anywhere between 15 to 25 pages long. The executive summary is gonna have information about the market, how much profit is to be made, if it's a rental property, what's the cash flow. We disclose all the numbers, the rent roll. We also include information about the demographics of the local area, what our plan is, what's our plan A, plan B, and plan C. So it's kind of like a business plan in a way, but it discloses, it showcases how you're gonna go and complete the deal profitably. Once we have an executive summary, we go and hand them out to people that we know could become a good private investor / private partner. and we just hand them to them and say, hey, let me know what you think. Here's a deal that I'm working on. It's expected to profit potentially X amount of dollars. Take a look at it and see what tell me what you think. And a couple days later, we'll follow up with them to see if they have any questions, to see if they're interested. And a lot of times, if they are interested, they'll start to ask you guys questions. They'll say, hey, so can you be more clear on this section right here? What do you mean by this profit? What do you mean by this rent roll? They'll ask more questions, and if they're asking questions, that means they might be interested. But if they tell you, oh yeah, it looks great, best of luck to you. This looks like something that could be interesting. If they don't ask you much question and they're being a little aloof about it, chances are they're not interested in moving forward. But if they do ask questions, they're interested. They're looking to get some more information as to making that decision. So we hand these executive summaries out. If we get any questions from people, we know that they're interested, and you tell them, hey, what did you think about the executive summary? And they'll say, yeah, it looks good, it looks solid. And you can go on and say, hey, I'm looking for a partner. I'm looking for someone to come in on this deal. Would you like to come and get in on it, right? And they may ask you questions again. And that's really typically how it starts. And from there, we go to our attorney, form the right paperwork to get that partnership started. And that's really the conversation. Now, there's other ways, other conversations, other scripts, and Daniel has a different way to go about it. But I've given you more of a general answer and general process as to how we typically raise our money. Now, when it comes to the tax portion of it, that's what I would recommend have a conversation with an accountant on how to set that up, how to set up your partnership in a way that it provides tax benefits. And you may also have to have your accountant explain to your private partner and your private investor how investing with you could give them a tax benefit and some tax savings in the future. So that's something you may have to do along the way, having different professionals get involved to give some validation as to what you're doing, okay? So all in all, to answer your question, T-Tama, get an executive summary written up, which, by the way, you can get a free copy, a free template from our website. Go to www.thekwakbrothers.com. Click on the free stuff button, and we have all the free stuff that you can download there. And one of the free stuffs that we give away is a template of the executive summary that you can download, and you can edit and change and things like that. So you can use that to create your own executive summary. We go and use that executive summary to hand out to potential partners. Potential partners ask us questions. We go back and forth on the educating them on what's going on. They invest in the deal with us, and so on. As far as the tax side, have an accountant involved to explain what tax benefits there are. Of course, if you're doing rental properties, there's depreciation that your potential private lender and partner can take on. I should say partner, because lenders don't have equity on the deal. If they are a potential partner, they can also get depreciation of the property, which could also save them money on taxes in the future. There's all sorts of different tax benefits that can come for your private lender. Make sure you have an accountant explain what sort of tax benefits that are available to your private partner moving forward, okay? Yeah, absolutely. You're welcome, T-Tama, for the and thanks for asking the question. And I'm sure a lot of people were wondering about that question as well. Okay. All righty. Okay, so 11:41. We got about 20 minutes, 15 minutes before we close out here. I hope you guys had a phenomenal weekend. I know I did. I took some time off. I did 0 videos, no social media. I actually stayed away from social media as much as I could. Spent a lot of time with my wife, driving out to Indiana. Did some shooting range, which was a lot of fun. And then yesterday I spent the whole day just not doing anything, which, by the way, my little personal tip here, you guys, is take some time off to recharge and refresh. And a lot of times what I realize is that if I don't take the time off to recharge and rest and sort of re-add the energy back into my life, I don't do well with videos, doing YouTube videos. I don't do well making decisions, business decisions. And I'm not in a good mood generally, and I'm not really pumped up. So take the time to rest and recharge your energy at least one time out of the week. Of course, for me, it's Sunday. And take that time off to recharge your energy, and you'll feel that you can work harder throughout the week, and you have more creativity, you have more motivation, you have more discipline, and that's something that I recommend just from a personal standpoint. Take the time off. I know some of you guys might be saying, well, come on, like I don't want to take the time off. I got to go all hard. I got to go, use that time to make money. But I'll tell you guys what, if you're always on the go, and if you never spend the time or invest in yourself to recharge, you're gonna get not only burned out, but you're gonna run out of creativity and you're gonna run out of willpower. And the time that you're spending doing work is gonna be very inefficient. It's gonna take more time for you to think. It's gonna take more time to make a decision. So when you recharge, when you add the energy back into your life, you can work harder, you can make faster decisions, you have more creative juice flowing through you for you to be able to get your work done faster and quicker and in a more effectively, okay? Hope Nason is saying, Mark J. Kohler has a great book, Lawyers Are Liars. It answers a lot of questions and has a great appendix. Yeah, great recommendation. I do appreciate Mark Kohler. Mark is a good friend of mine. He's got plenty of good books that you can go and check out. So go ahead and check out some of his books out there that has to do with tax and legal. Yeah, good recommendation, Hope. Unanimous is saying, if I use my HELOC to get a rental property, but the market is boom, what would be your advice? How to protect you against recession? So when you get a HELOC during a market boom, when the economy is doing really well, don't go off and go hog wild and use all of your HELOC. I would recommend that you use at most 30% of your HELOC, because when you pass that 30% mark, you start to get into more of the dangerous territory. So if you want to play it safe, when you get a HELOC during an economic boom on your rental property, use only 30% of the HELOC limit to do some more investing, or of course, using our strategy, paying down the principal balance of other debt that you may have. That's some of the tips I can give you guys when it comes to getting a HELOC on a rental property. Okay. Top Secret Bear is asking, do you think it is better to get a real estate attorney that is in the market you're going to invest in, or is it better to find one that is removed from your possible conflicts of interest in the prospective market? No, I would say go with an attorney that is in your market. In fact, the attorney has to have a license to practice law in your state. So it's better that you work with an attorney in your own area that understands your market, that understands your local law, that understands local code, that way your attorney has a better context when writing up contracts and agreements, so that he or she can sort of write the contracts in the context of the local law and code and so on. Okay? Good questions, guys. Now, when it comes to business formation, like putting together an LLC or putting together a corporation, you may not have to work with an attorney that's local, but I prefer to work with a local attorney just to get that relationship going, because later on, if I'm gonna close on the property and I already have a relationship with an attorney because I formed an LLC or a corporation with them, right? Obviously, we're a returning customer, so they'll prefer to work with us again, because we gave them a business when we're forming the business entity. Okay. Great questions, guys. Lots of thought out questions coming in. Okay. All right, 11:45. We'll spend 10 more minutes, and then we'll wrap up the show today. And then we'll be back on Wednesday. I may or may not do a live. I may have to have someone else take over because I'll be in New Jersey, and I promised to do lunch with someone. So there may or may not be a live session on Wednesday, mainly because I'm in New Jersey. Daniel is in camp, so who knows? Daniel might be able to do it because I know he does have Wi-Fi and he can come on live at 11 o'clock Central Time. So we'll keep you guys posted. Pay attention to the community tab. We'll make an announcement as to whether we're gonna do a live session or not. But we'll try to do a live session on Wednesday, even if it's not me. Okay? All right. All right. Any more questions, ladies and gentlemen? I don't see any more questions from here on out. I know I see the same names over and over and over. I appreciate you guys coming on board every week to ask questions, as well as following us here in the Kwak Brothers. We can't do what we do here without your support and all the appreciation that you guys give us, and the love. And of course, if you guys feel that our videos are helpful, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell icon so that you guys get notified whenever we go live on YouTube. And we'll go live on different occasions. We may go live to give you guys a tour of our property. We may go live during a time where we're shopping for a property. So do subscribe to our YouTube channel for other occasions that we may go live for. And of course, we got our weekly real estate investing Q&A here on Mondays at 11 o'clock Central Time, and debt-free acceleration question and answer time on Wednesday at 11 o'clock Central Time. So be sure to come back for those. We do weekly live sessions, and we release videos on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So we typically release videos at noon on Tuesdays and noon on Thursdays. So be on the lookout for those. And we'd love to keep on releasing videos. And if you have any suggestions, by the way, if you have any suggestions on any videos that you would like for us to do, feel free to comment down below, and we'll be more than happy to do those video topics for you guys, to answer any questions that you may have. Or if you want us to cover any topics, we'll be more than happy to answer any topics that comes in your mind. Okay? All right, so I don't see any other questions from here and out. I may just end up cutting it short. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in, being on board. We do this every week, Mondays at 11 o'clock Central and Wednesday at 11 o'clock Central. Come back this coming Wednesday. It could be either myself or Daniel. Again, high chance that I'm not going to be able to make it because I'll be doing lunch with someone that I promised that I'll be doing lunch with them. So guys, come back Wednesday, and I will see you guys this Wednesday. Daniel will be back next Monday to do his real estate investing Q&A. So I will see you guys in the next weekly live video. Take care, guys.